Buongiorno, quanto che se bella giorno. Welcome to Expert Authority Effect Interviews. I am super excited today. We have none other than global leader expert in the field of health and nutrition, wellness. You've seen him on Huffington Post, Sports Illustrated, TEDx, and many others, Men's Health Magazine. We have Angelo Poli here. And we're going to be sharing about so many good things about your health, because if you have a great company and you're serving your customers, but you don't have your health, then what do you really have? I'm going to bring them up right after we thank our sponsor. Winning with Google in 2020? Of course you want to. I'd advise Google's search, advertising, and YouTube specialist, Rosh Sillers. Download the free Winning with Google in 2020 guide at eainterviews.com/Rosh Tips. Mi paisan.
Hey, Mario Fachini. Forget about it.
It's great to have you here.
Well, I'm here because you promised me some pasta when we're done.
I just made some last night and had it for lunch.
That's not
That's not even a joke. It was awesome. It is so great to have
Thanks
you
so
here.
much. Oh, it's an honor. It's an honor. I think it worked out great. Everybody's at home going, these guys, oh my gosh.
This was all intentional, just so you know.
Mom's at home going, Mamma Mia.
And if
I'm thrilled to be
check
here,
out the show
Mario.
notes page, you can see the video of what we did. It's he's a
brutal
good guy. I already know this is going to go well. So,
oh man,
what got you into your business? What's your story about? How'd you become so successful?
Well, that is very kind to say. Success is something you're always pursuing. When you say you're there, you're not ever going to get any farther. So it's a work in progress. Just series of life events. I ended up having an injury when I was younger, and it brought me kind of full circle to the fitness world, health and fitness, and I was really passionate about it, and I just became gradually obsessed with how the body works and how the human physiology transforms. And so one thing led to another. I started coaching people, and then I started coaching coaches to coach people. And fast forward a few years, and here I am getting to talk to Mario Fachini. So we're having fun.
What would you say is the biggest issue that most people have before they come to you?
Too much information and not knowing what's real. So what we do and what my company MetPro is about is education, specifically around the metabolism, body transformations, and makeovers. And the whole industry is flooded with information. So they talk about, okay, there's calorie control, there's good foods, there's bad foods. You eat plant-based is the best way. No, actually keto and grass-fed, that's the way to go. And no, it's just really about meal timing. And when you're having your meals, you really want to take these supplements. I mean, we can go on and on. Here's the deal. I've been doing this 20 years. I've had the privilege of working with and dieting 20,000 people at this point in my career. I can tell you that all that information out there, it's all right. All of it works. All the gurus, they're not wrong. They're right. That's good information. That's the biggest issue people come to me with. It's like, hey, my next door neighbor did this program and, she had great results, or it didn't work at all. And then my other neighbor, they did that program. It's just totally different and it worked or it didn't work at all. What's going to work for me? That's what people want to know. How do I know which of all these great strategies out there is right for me? That's the problem we help people solve.
It's reminding me of the adage, the most expensive information is free information.
Very good. I love that. That is so true.
I was going to also joke and say you were looking at my Google searches last night because I was looking at health information, and I'm all excited. I was
Oh,
cooking stuff, and people are going, "Oh, you're eating too many carbs," and then it's like, "Oh, you're eating not enough carbs," and then it's like, "Oh, there's too much fat, but fat's good for you." I'm like, "Holy crap! I'm gonna go back to Cheetos and chips. Like, leave me alone." My
yeah.
favorite is
No, it can be
fruit's not
busy.
healthy for you. Oh, well, if fruit's not, everything else is a far cry. How do you
Yeah,
discern this
yeah.
information?
So when we work with an individual, we're looking at, and I'll just bullet these real fast. We're looking at 4 to 5 things. One, we're looking at their goals. Now we look at their genetics, their body type, their predispositions, but their goals. And for listeners who are interested in goal setting, here's what effective goal setting is really about. Effective goal setting is about deciding what you're not going to do right now. That's the mistake people make. They think, well, I want to do this, and I want to do this, and this. You're not going to accomplish any of them. What you need to have is a strong priority hierarchy. That way you can put enough emphasis into 1 or 2 things to really move the dial on it. And then you can check that off the list, move on to the next. The second thing is identifying whether you are a strategic or a metabolic. And here's the difference. In short, strategic means your body responds well to diet and exercise, to clean eating, to healthy living. The challenge, like everyone else on the planet, is implementation. Implementation is all about time management and, I dare say, speed. Because a lot of people tell me, yeah, Angelo, I know that. I know what I need to be doing. I say, I get it. My job is to help you do it quicker, because speed is what's going to enable you to implement it as a daily part of your life. That's where the strategy and the time management comes in. Now, a metabolic client or somebody who has metabolic needs, their issues are a little different. So there's someone who already has a value set surrounding food and exercise and healthy living, but metabolically, they've simply reached a plateau where their body isn't changing much beyond that. So they need a different strategy to break through, to challenge their body, to break through that plateau, to continue adapting. So
So I don't
that's the
want to use
second
the
thing.
example of a bodybuilder, like you have to be one, but for someone who's already
Right.
pretty much in peak performance, it's harder for them to go further versus someone who wants to make a bigger transformation. But you have solutions to
Yes.
both.
Yes, that's and probably something that even more people can relate to. But that is exactly right. Something even more people can relate to is I want to lose 50 pounds. I did XYZ diet and I lost 35. Your body's already used to that. You're already there. How do I get that next 15? My body just doesn't want to budge. That's a very common. I mean, we've worked with clients that have previously been on, the pro weight loss TV shows, the whole 9 yards. They're coming to us with sometimes very, very difficult cases, slowed metabolisms that we got to rebuild from the ground up. Other times it's just a matter of just this small, minute optimization, and it's just smooth sailing. So it really depends on the person.
How do you
The
know?
the
Do you need to draw blood or do a test, or how do you get a baseline? Can you just look at me and say, you're probably this?
I love this guy. You said the word baseline. That's what we are all about, baseline testing. That was my next point. The third thing we're looking at is your nutritional history, your fitness culture. We're looking for that to get a baseline. So as I mentioned, I've dieted almost 20,000 people. Mario, ask me what you should eat to lose weight or to gain weight. Ask me.
What should I eat to gain weight or lose weight?
I don't know. No clue. Haven't the foggiest.
Oh, okay.
And I've dieted 20,000 people. So if I don't know, none of those online gurus know, I promise. And the reason is because the sum total of my experience coaching people and transformation projects has taught me, the sum total is that no 2 people are alike. You have nothing is fair when it comes to body transformations and metabolism. I got a gal right now. She weighs 115 pounds. She eats over 3,500 calories a day. If she so much as misses a snack, she wakes up the next day 1.5 pounds lighter. I have a guy right now. He weighs 323 pounds. He is hardworking. He is diligent with his nutrition. He's barely eating over 2,000 calories a day. If he misses his elliptical machine one morning a week, he's flat for the week. Nothing fair about it. The key is we have to know where your body is. Now, those represent two extremes. Most people are going to fall somewhere, in between. They're not going to be on either of those ends of the spectrum. But baseline testing lets us identify exactly where you're at so there's no more guesswork. Then when you ask me, what do I have to eat to gain weight or lose weight or to change my health or my body, I can actually give you a relevant answer. I can say, based on the other 3,000 males between the age of 35 and 40 who are mesomorphic body types who have eaten exactly what you're eating and done exactly what you're doing, your metabolism is just a little below average or a little above average or tanked or whatever the case is. So here's what we're going to do next. Baseline testing. That's the key.
That is impressive, and it doesn't seem fair because I remember when in high school when I was in marching band, it was like, 4,000 calories a day. You're just burning them off. And
oh, yeah.
It's actually kind of a pain because it's like you have to constantly eat stuff. It's like you can't ever have a break and just let it go. So
remember the kid in high school? Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
My question with the food is, because this is where I came up with the Big Mac theory, but where do you find, if you need to consume 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 calories a day? I'm thinking of my one friend, Dave Kopp, who's a police officer, and he said he's upwards of 4,000 or 5,000.
That's a lot, yeah.
Where do you get that much food that's still good for you? Like, what? How do you even get filled up on that? Like, what? How do
that's
you
a great
consume that
question.
much and still get filled up and still have it be good for you?
That's a great question. So now you're talking. So we have a lot of high level athletes that we work with, a number of NFL players, on and on, and these are individuals that have massive consumption needs. And in order to get that food cleanly, you can go and you can do the cheeseburger and you can do the ice cream, but that's solving one problem and creating three more. So in order to still eat clean fuel that's going to help you on the field perform better, you have to be a little bit discerning about your food selection and its relative volume. So for example, one of my favorite foods for clean eating is oatmeal. I love oatmeal. You'll hear that in the fitness community, the bodybuilding community, and the athletic community. A lot of people eat oatmeal at breakfast. Oatmeal is great. If you need to eat 4,000 calories a day, you cannot eat oatmeal. Can't do it. You'll never get there. You'll get too full too quickly. Now, you can do some toasted bagel, or you can do some pasta, because these are foods that are dense in carbohydrates. So simply, you don't have to eat as much to get more grams of the macronutrients that you need. So the first thing we do is we're going to make sure your protein is adequate to your activity level. The second thing we're going to do is we're going to increase carbohydrates as much as we possibly can until we reach a threshold where simply your gut says, no more. And then if we have to go higher than that, then we kind of, we pull out the ace, we pull out the wild card, and we use fats to bring it up. Healthy fats. We don't want to go crazy, and we don't want to use them more than necessary. But the reason we go to fats as kind of the final option to bring caloric intake up is because it's so dense in calories. It's more than double the caloric intake of the other two other macronutrients. So it works really well. But there are practical times for it. So because I've trained a number of high-level athletes, NFL players, I'll often get young, upcoming sportsmen who, their fathers will bring them to me. And I'll be looking across the table at Johnny here, who's a senior in high school, and he's already getting recruited and scouted to play ball at the collegiate level. And, my son has an arm like a cannon. He can throw the football over the moon. And I'm looking across the table at this 6'3", 155-pound kid. And I say, all right, Johnny, do you like food? And he says to me, uh-huh. And I said, not anymore, you don't. And he laughs. And I say, stop laughing. You are going to be miserable. You're going to have a stomach ache for the next 9 months of your life. And then dad will pipe in and he goes, isn't that bad for him? I mean, that's not good to eat that. And I said, yes, it is bad for him. I have weighed his digestive health against his spinal health when a 260-pound defensive end sits on your son's face, and I've decided that we're going to go with the spinal health. So there are absolutely times where it makes sense to increase your calories very rapidly. However, over 86% of people that reach out to me and my company and my experts, guess what they're asking for?
Lose weight?
Yeah, you got it. They want to go the other direction. They want to know, I'm doing everything right. Why isn't the scale budging? Or I know what to do. I need someone strategic in my life to walk me through each step and help me to also be an expert on my body. So it's one of those two categories.
That's interesting because I've joked for years, I want to put on 20 pounds because I know muscle weighs more than fat.
Ah, there you go.
It's, I've always focused more on the body mass composition instead of just the overall weight, because it's like, well, it depends. Are you on top of a mountain or are you lower on Earth? I know in Detroit, I'm at about 565 foot at sea level. On the moon, it's different. And there's different things to consider when you're dealing with weight. It's all relative. But
absolutely,
is your body healthy?
There you go.
So speaking of that, what are your thoughts on the BMI?
So that's what my MetPro, metabolic, stands for metabolic profiling. That's what my brand and my company specifically is trying to address. So I don't ever like being negative about anything. I think BMI and using that as a reference point was an innovation when it came out, eons ago. If you go to 10 different doctors and you say, Doc, help me lose weight, you will get 10 different answers. If you go to 10 different trainers, fitness trainers, say, hey, help me lose weight, you're going to get 10 different strategies. That is the issue. There's no standard in either the medical or the fitness field currently that says, here is our reference point. And the one thing that they'll all agree on is the BMI, isn't it? It doesn't tell you exactly, it doesn't give you enough information. All of my bodybuilders, their BMI tells them that they're morbidly obese, right? And yet they're 4% body fat. So there's a lot that doesn't get accounted for there. What we're trying to do is answer the question, how to identify where my body is at and where it should be at based on baseline testing and comparative research. So my thoughts on the BMI.
Well, I appreciate that. I have mine too, and I think once in my life I was ever where I was supposed to be. I've always been overweight. I was at 7% body fat at one point. What would you say is a healthy point?
So that completely depends on the person and also the method of measuring body fat. So
and the gender.
And the gender, of course. So, for example, when somebody 10 years ago said, I'm 7% body fat, that's 2% off of, being ready to be on stage competitively for like a competition. Nowadays, if you said 7%, they may be talking about hydrostatic weighing or some more evolved method of measuring body fat that isn't just simply the subcutaneous body fat. And those numbers are going to be different. So if you're looking at those numbers, they're going to be proportionately higher, and 7% would be really low. But if somebody was just, hey, taking a skin fold test and you're coming in at 7%, yeah, you're a stud or a studette. That's awesome. You're very lean at that body fat percentage. For women, that would be exceptionally low. That wouldn't be typical even of female athletes. That would be more reserved.
That would be almost dangerously low, wouldn't it?
Yeah. That would be more reserved for short stints of time for like the bodybuilding community or even the physique sports community. So not for the typical person. Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the electro thing? So
testers. They are they're better than nothing, right? So what they're going to do is it's electrical impedance. So it's sending it through your upper body mostly when you're using the ones with your hands. So the ones that's hands and you're standing on feet are going to be a little bit more accurate because some people tend to carry body weight, dispersed, more upper body, more lower body. That said, it's a great reference point. I'm less concerned with strict accuracy. So if you're using them, keep using them. That's great. What I'm more concerned with is distance traveled, because that tells us, are we moving in the right direction? So as long as you use it and it's roughly consistent from day to day, it's going to be a great barometer to tell you if you're heading in the right direction or the wrong direction. So I like it. I think they're great.
I love your answer. You're the first person who hasn't put up a fight on me. I've been using one of those since high school. And they're like, well, those aren't as accurate as the hospital. I'm like, neither is a laser compared to the one on a naval ship. But I was like, the exact same thing. At least it gives me a reference and I know if it's going up or down.
That's right. Absolutely. You nailed it. Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. I'm going to make a clip of that and send it to a few people. So with all the people you've helped, 20,000, what is the biggest transformation you've seen someone come in? Maybe two, because you gave two examples of, I would like to, I'm sure you have hundreds, but I am sure it's someone that it wasn't easy for them because having to consume 5,000 to 8,000 calories a day versus trying to just keep 10 pounds off.
Right. So the key is to be able to reset how your body works. So you don't feel like you're always on a diet, or you don't feel like you're always, but that's not the question you asked.
I will tell you this. Expanded on that first, though.
Okay.
I have 400 more questions.
Let's do it. I got all day. So most people feel frustrated because they get to a point where they're like, yeah, okay, I'm happy with how I look. I'm happy with how I feel. I've made some progress. All I have to do is eat tofu and rice cakes the rest of my life, and I'm good. That's no kind of life, especially for guys like you and me who look for our pasta and meatballs. We show love through food, so you want to be able to experience one of life's great pleasures from time to time within reason. So the question is, how do we? That a boy. How do we reset our body, our metabolism to where within reasonable frameworks? There's no magic bullet. There's no, pixie dust here. Within a reasonable range of your genetic predisposition, how do we reset it to run faster? And so you can control your metabolism. So you're going to let me dive in on this? Because this is going to be it's going to be a whole thing here. Okay.
Go for it, please.
We're going to do two illustrations that are actually to take our listeners through a mental experiment. So prove it to yourself. If you say, oh, Angelo, he's full of it. Let's walk through this. If you were to take 100 people and drop them off on a deserted island, they're stranded there. You put them on rations. Doesn't matter. Pick a number, 1,200 calories a day, 1,500 calories, whatever. 1,500 calories a day. They're rationed. You leave them there for a year. Now, on this deserted island, you have young people, old people, skinny people, fat people, and everything in between. Every type of person on this island. They're all eating 1,500 calories a day. A year later, you pick them up. Every single person on that island, what is their metabolic rate? Every single person. Metabolic rate being how many calories, there's other factors other than calories, but for today's illustration, how many calories a day are every single person on that island burning? I'll give you a hint. It's the only number I've given you. How many calories?
1,500.
Absolutely. Because if that's not the answer, they don't come off the island. They're dead. It's that simple. If their body can't acclimate to 1,500 calories a day, they die. So some people will absolutely lose weight, but eventually their body will create homeostasis and stabilize and burn 1,500 calories. Otherwise, mathematics dictate, biology dictates that they wouldn't ever leave the island. That proves that your metabolic rate can be conditioned. And everyone's going, well, yeah, when I eat less, my metabolic rate slows down. I know that, duh. Get to the part where how do I speed it up? So when I give lectures, seminars, I'll usually pick someone in the audience. I'll say, Julie here in the front row, she weighs 125 pounds. She's a real petite gal who's, exercises regular, eats clean. What would happen, Julie? And I'll turn my attention to the audience. I'll say, what would happen to Julie here if she changed nothing about her routine except she added a pint of Ben & Jerry's or a pint of Haagen-Dazs ice cream every night before bed, 1,000 calories a night? And everyone in the audience will snicker and laugh. They'll say Julie would finally be happy. And then I would say, okay, let's ask Julie. What would happen? I'd gain weight. How much weight in 30 days would you gain, Julie? She'll say to me, she'll think, and she'll say, 5 or 10 pounds. I said, you're about right. I mean, I've been doing this for a minute. You'd gain about 5 or 10 pounds. Now, how about if you kept eating that pint of Ben & Jerry's ice cream every night for a year? How much weight would you gain? And she'll think, because I've literally done this hundreds of times. Invariably, she'll answer 15 to 20 pounds, maybe 25. And I'll say, you know what? You're probably about on track. That's probably what you'd gain. Anybody disagree? Everyone thinks, no, that sounds about right to me. Yep, that seems right. Okay, now we have a problem. Let's do the math. 1,000 calories a night, that's 7,000 calories a week. Now, we know there's 3,500 calories in a pound of body fat. So that's 2 pounds a week. There's 52 weeks in a year. That's 104 pounds. Raise your hand if you think Julie is wrong and she's going to gain 104 pounds in a year. No takers? If not, that means that Ben & Jerry's made her metabolism faster. That's the only explanation left. You have to believe that. Don't go home and start saying, Angelo said if I eat Ben & Jerry's, hey. Don't do that. You're not going to be happy with the 25 pounds you will gain.
I was just going to say, you're only going to gain 10 pounds?
You'll gain, but what'll happen is eventually your metabolism, just like those people on the deserted island who are eating less, when you eat more, eventually your metabolism will adapt to try and keep you alive. Because if your metabolism can't adapt to more food or less food, the end result on both ends is death. Right. One takes a little longer than the other, but that is the end result on both ends. So the metabolism's job, people don't understand what my metabolism is. I point to your metabolism. It doesn't work that way. Metabolism is just referring to all of the chemical and biological processes that are constantly retuning and adjusting in your body to adapt to your energy expenditure and your intake. That's what your metabolism is. And it's no different from the rest of our body. Your skin, when you're out in the sun, it darkens. Your muscles, when you lift really heavy things, they grow. Your heart, when you run marathons, it increases capacity. Everything about our body adapts to our environment to a degree. Our metabolism works the same way. Now, my challenge, my charge to all of our listeners would be, if you track and analyze how your body is responding, you can get some metrics that will clearly provide for you a path, a strategic path for next steps. Everybody's trying to figure out, what should I do to lose weight? What should I do to gain weight? What should I do to stay my weight and be able to see my abs or feel better? If you follow a baseline meal plan, okay, we know how many calories you're eating, the macronutrient ratios, the grams, the glycemic load, the timing, all 9 yards. You follow a baseline meal plan, not forever, for a couple days, 3 days. We have pure data. There are only 3 possible outcomes. There's not more. This isn't a complicated scenario. You're either going to gain weight, you're going to lose weight, or you're going to stay the same weight. That's it. Those are the only 3 possibilities. There's no more possibilities. With that data, we can start surmising what we need to change about your diet, your training strategy, your lifestyle and routine. Now, it used to take me years ago when I was first in this industry, it used to take me 6 weeks. I would say, Mario, here's a meal plan and an exercise plan. Go do this for 6 weeks. Come back to me. I'm going to look at how your body's responding, and I'm going to tell you what to change. So I got a little more experience. I learned a little bit. I got a little better. I was able to get that process down to about 10 days, 10 to 12 days. Then some, technology has moved forward. We're able to leverage some of that technology to do calculations, leverage analytics from others' data, so that way now we have that process through metabolic profiling down to 72 hours. That's it. Now, I know there's going to be naysayers out there, other experts and fitness enthusiasts that are like, you can't tell in just 3 days of doing something if it's working or not. And you are right. It does take longer than that to concretely establish. But we've divined now that with just 72 hours of baseline analytics, we can gather enough data points to start making small but relevant recommendations. And that's what the technology allows us to do. Instead of every 6 weeks we make a big change, every few days we can make minor shifts until that adds up to big changes over time, but just small shifts every few days based on your ongoing analytics. And this is the stuff that just lights me up. Super passionate about it.
You and I are very similar. So where do you get the data? Can I send you the info that's on my Galaxy Watch?
Yes, let's do it. Absolutely. So we have built. I wrote a book years ago, and then one of my business partners, who runs all the tech, he said, my job is to tear one page of that book out at a time and turn it into an actual tool, a technology. And he did it. Wish he didn't, right? Is my baby. He tore one page out at a time. So what it enables us to do is when we have someone, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put you on a baseline meal plan. It's going to suck. You're not going to enjoy it. It's not fun, but it's not forever. I'm not expecting you now, here, go eat this the rest of your life. No, it's just like getting ready for, you got a medical procedure or something. You got a food restriction list. Look, you can do this for a couple days. Prepare, plan it for a time. Do this for a couple days, because we're going to get such exceptional information out of that we're actually going to be able to give you good information that'll tell you what you can or can't accomplish. Sometimes I have people that come to me. It's like, hey, I want to lose 20 pounds. And I look at their data. I'm like, okay, we'll lose 20 pounds. Other people come to me. It's like, hey, I want to lose 20 pounds. I look at their data like, you can't lose 20 pounds, not in one shot. Here's what we can do. We can get about 8 or 9 off now. We're going to have to pause, reboot your metabolism. Going to take a few weeks. Then we can get the next 10, 11 pounds off. Are you good with that? And here's why. Your data says this. Here's we're going to run out of highway. Here's we're going to have to change our strategy, bring your metabolic rate back up, take you off the island, start feeding you again. And then we can go for round 2.
It sounds like you're doing with this what I'm doing with my publishing clients, because you know the whole process, all the ins and outs, and how long it's going to take. I love that you were like, oh, we're going to have to pause, but we can do it again in a few weeks. I think.
What are you doing with your publishing clients?
What's that?
What are you doing with your publishing clients?
Well, it's the same thing when they go, well, how long does it take to write a book? How long does it take to lose 20 pounds?
Yeah.
6 months, 9 months, 12 months? 8 weeks.
Yep.
And you were just so nonchalant, like, well, 72 hours here, we can't do all the 20 at once. We have to come back and do it for a few more weeks. Like, I love how everyone, it's like, well, it's going to take 6 months to do this. How long do you plan on being alive? Like, it's not really that long of a time to commit to something. And I've been doing more. And I wasn't joking about the watch, and to be honest, I wear this one for the show because it fits everything else. But I didn't want to lose the data, so I snuck this one on this one, so it's still tracking.
He's double watching it.
I didn't want to lose it while I'm filming today, because it's been, doing the graphs, and I can tell you, the floors, the steps, the caloric intake, the heart rate, the stress, and it's the data, and it's the same thing.
That's what it is.
So once you
there's a million.
If I were to say
there's a million data
2,000
trackers
to 2,500 a day, you can get my metabolism back to 3,000 or 3,500?
Yeah, no, that I can do. I'd be very confident. I mean, just because I have more information, I can visually see you. I can see what kind of shape you're in. That's not going to be a hard bridge to gap. That gap to bridge. We could definitely do that. There are
And it
some
sounds
people
like
that are going to
you're
have
all
some more
about the
roadblocks.
pasta, and I even heard you say there's ice cream in there too.
I'm not going to be having you eat a lot of ice cream. I do believe in cheat meals and enjoying yourself. Don't nickel and dime me. And I tell everybody this. I say, okay, here's the deal. If you want to have a cheat meal and enjoy yourself guilt-free, because you're living a healthy lifestyle, you're eating clean, so you can enjoy yourself from time to time. What really sets people back is the nickel and dime. In other words, I ate clean today, but I just grabbed the bite of this, the sip of that, the bite here, the bite there. Problem there is you wear out your decision-making muscle, you get fatigued, because then every time, like, do I want to eat that? Do I not want to eat that? And it's just exhausting. You have to make a conscious decision. Whereas if you really make it about your character, this is who I am, this is what I believe in, you don't have to think about it, then it's easy. Hey, this is how I eat clean, and then when I do have a meal that I want, then I enjoy myself and I get to do so guilt-free. We can move the dial a lot quicker. And if you can't do it for those reasons, then just come walk with me for a few days and just trust me, and I'll take you through the process that will work for you, because everyone's body is different, but we will figure out what your body needs. That's the fun part.
That is the fun part. And I think it's so awesome you're able to help all these people. And what I'm hearing is don't let your cheat meal turn into a cheat week.
That's exactly it. Yep. And they're helping me too. That's how I learned this stuff. That's their data and their life experiences. My team of coaches now has been able to learn critical lessons that's made us stop and actually change our methods because of the lessons we're learning from our clients. And that's the beautiful thing about always evolving and trying to continually progress.
So I'm going to ask you about entrepreneurs, ambitious, successful, upwardly mobile people, because they're the ones
Okay.
listening to this. They're the ones watching
Okay.
this. What are the benefits? Why should they do this? How does it
Um,
impact their life and business?
you ever invest in the stock market? You know what that's about a little bit? Um, we want to buy health, never sell health. Don't short it, don't sell it. So here's the deal. When you are going home from work and you're exhausted and you're out of time, and we go, you know what, I'm just going to hit the drive through and grab something greasy really quick because it's convenient and it's available and it tastes good. You just sold health. And when you go, you know what, I'm going to prepare and bring with me some clean snacks, or I'm going to make sure that I'm eating and doing a business meeting with my partners at a restaurant where I can order something healthy, you just bought health. If you want a return on investment, I can't tell you how many, because entrepreneurs, executives, that's our clientele. We have lots of individuals like that. I can't tell you how many guys that they get there. They're at the point in their career where now they're looking at what's really important in their life. And every single one of them, what's important? I want to be around. I want to be healthy. And I know I got to get this weight off, or I got to improve my blood work, or I got to, whatever metrics they're working at, I got to make changes in order to get there. I wish I would have started 10 years ago. Your health is so important. And here's the thing, it's not a sacrifice. It feels like a sacrifice. But if you give me 15 minutes a day of preparation, I will give you back an hour of productivity, I promise. And oh, by the way, if you're a leader, that trickles down to your whole organization. If you have a healthy organization who actually prioritizes their health and their fitness, and for you VPs and executives, I need you to actually be one of the snobs out there, one of the fitness snobs who their workout hour is actually on the calendar, where their secretary and the other executives can see it in the calendar, and everybody knows, oh, don't call Johnny during that hour, that's his workout hour. I need you to be that guy. It's that important. It doesn't mean upending your entire life. What it means is adopting a different value system. And I'm going to expand just a little bit more, and you tell me if I'm talking too much.
Please
just
do.
Another little tidbit here.
I want all the men and women listening to this to go, you know what? I can do this extra. I've accomplished all these other things. This is worth it.
Goals. I love goals, but I love values much more. Here's why. Hardworking lady comes to me and she says, Angelo, I'm getting married in 4 months. I need to be in the best shape of my life. It is my goal to be in the best shape of my life in 4 months. We're going to do it. We're going to get there. And she's driven. She has a goal. That's exceptional. She's going to hit that. And goals are great to use as long as they are stepping stones along the way of adopting broader values. Because sure enough, what's going to happen after the wedding, if it was only a goal and she hasn't actually adopted the methodology, the lifestyle as a value, guess what? You're going to be in the best shape of your life that day, and it ends as the best shape of your life. You were never in better shape after that. If it's a value, all it is the best shape of my life up until that point. And then 6 months later, even better and even better and even better. That's why values are so important. So there is a bit of psychology that goes into this, but I find one of my mentors, he taught me, rightly so, that the greatest motivator for human beings on planet Earth is progress. And I find that to be so true. I know a lot of people in the health and wellness space, they feel like, well, everybody, they just want results and they're not willing to do the work. That hasn't been my experience. I mean, trust me, I've seen it. That is out there. But by and large, I have found that people are willing to put effort in. They're willing to do work for something that they want overall. But they need to see some return on investment. They need to see some progress. And that's where the strategy and the science comes in. If you have the right strategy and the right science, you're going to see that return on investment. You're going to see that progress, which is now going to perpetuate that positive cycle. Progress equals motivation equals more progress, and we move down the road.
I love your take on it because it's very similar to mine. And the whole reason I started a show was to exponentially elevate the identity of humanity. And I know when you're talking about the psychology, there's a lot of identity in it too. There's people that, they may always be, quote unquote, a fat person that wants to see themselves skinny. And then you can have the identity of, I've always been a skinny person who just put on some weight. Those are two different mindsets and psychosis and identities that are attached to someone that could relatively look the same. How much of a role do you feel that plays when you're helping people?
That's huge, and that's part of the basically our right out of the gate, our education process, as we get to really know our clients, and we really get to know our clients. Everybody's familiar with a weight loss program or a diet or even an online exercise routine. That's not what we do. We do the high level makeovers. Somebody has a role in a Hollywood movie that they need to look XYZ. That's what we do. So we're really walking with them, and that education process is critical. And I'll give you an example right along the lines of what you're talking about. Two buddies, they're both trying to lose a few pounds. They're both 250 pounds. They both go on the same journey, same nutrition plan, and they work out together at the same time. And one guy loses 40 pounds. I mean, like that, he's 210. The other guy loses 10 pounds. And he's looking at his buddy going, what the heck? How's that work? That's not fair. Well, here's what you didn't know about those two guys. Rewind to high school, and the guy who only lost 10 pounds, he was 225 pounds in high school. That was his body type. That was his genetic makeup. The guy who lost 40 pounds in high school, he weighed 160. See, so his body type, skeletal structure, and genetics dictate that, frankly, he was significantly more overweight than the other guy, even though they're the exact same weight to begin with. So as a percentage of total weight to lose, they're not that far off. Maybe it's marginal. So knowing where you're at, I have one of my buddies, he's actually one of my favorite people on the planet. He comes to me and he goes, all right, Angelo, and he's about 290, and he's just a big guy. He's the type of guy you don't want to meet in the back alley. He's a big guy. And he's all right, my goal, I want to get down to 190. And I said, nope. He goes, why not? I said, because the only time you're 190 is when you're at the morgue. That's not health. That's just a fact. So knowing your genetics and having an expert who's actually going to say, you know what, that's a great goal, and here's how we're going to get there. Or, you know what, I love that, but that's not the right goal for you. You know what, I have something even better, and here's why. Boom, boom, boom. Now we can move forward. That's where the education is at. And back full circle, the reason people aren't sure is because there is so much information out there. And there are so many different body types, genetic profiles, and strategies for different people that it can be very difficult, even for highly intelligent people, to know which is right for them. So that's where I feel having a tool and having a process for identifying how to be the best version of you is critical.
That is fantastic. And it sounds like whether you're John Q. Public or a celebrity, a movie star, or a professional athlete, everyone has their own journey that they're on, and it's all different. So don't beat yourself up over it.
That's right. Absolutely.
You didn't lose 100 pounds, but maybe you're not supposed to because that's not you, and you'd be dead if you did. So
ding, ding, ding. Yep.
I like that. I do have to ask you about the biggest success story. And now that you're mentioning some of the things, is there anyone you can say their name that you're not under contractual something like? Is there anyone that anyone would recognize that?
Oh yeah, I've had the honor over my years of coaching. I had the honor of working with some of the most incredible athletes. And just a FYI, I got to work with Aaron Rodgers for a number of years, and he is one of the nicest guys you will ever meet. I mean, he truly is real life nice guy. I could go on and on about stories. Incredible athlete. And it was just a privilege for the time that I got to work with him. And I've got to work with ad nauseum, Olympic athletes. I've got to work with a number of really fun Hollywood makeovers. But, at the end of the day, none of that stuff is the stuff when you ask me most inspirational story or most greatest transformation. The ones that I remember are the people that really feel like their life was changed. So it's usually not about touchdowns or the red carpet. Usually it's about family and living life. I can recall I had a father bring his teenage son to me because he had some musculoskeletal deficiencies. He was overweight, as this country deals with an epidemic of childhood obesity. And I mean that we could do a whole nother podcast on that and hopeful strategies where I think we really can turn things around. And I had the privilege of working with him for a while. And his father came back one day and we all sat together, and his son did an exercise routine with me, and it was a drill, and his son ran. Wasn't a thing of beauty, but he ran. And I looked over and his father was crying. And he came up to me after and he said, "I've never seen my son run before." Those are the things that I remember, the gal who trying and did everything, is trying to lose weight, trying to be healthy. And then finally she finds the right science, drops the 80 pounds, and she can go on the activity-based field trip with her kids again and do the hike. And just we hug and we're both crying, and those are the people you're still friends with. I still, they're still, I consider my close friends. And I could go on and on about stories like this, but that's what keeps me in this. That's what drives all of us at MetPro. Are those stories, and we absolutely love it, and we all feel honored to be a part of so many different people's lives.
And that is more special because the football, it's like it's just part of your job. If you're a painter, you want the best not toothbrushes, paintbrushes
That's
for
right.
the job. For
Yeah.
the NFL, that it's kind of like a requirement. Same thing with modeling or celebrities. Like you're saying with the role, I know there's people that put on 40 pounds for a role, then lose 60 for the next one. And it
Yep.
was always fascinating to me, like, how the heck do you do that? But when you
Yes.
can get someone to run again, to walk again, to be able to do the activities, I wish I could do this with my kids.
That's the good stuff.
That's special.
Yeah.
So thank you for sharing that.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, absolutely.
It's right over here. We got one more thing.
Okay, let's do it.
We call this the wheel of whatever.
Okay. It looks like whatever.
It's a hamster wheel, and it's going to be
Nice.
yellow and black. It's in progress.
Love
Pretend
it.
there's questions on here like Wheel of Fortune.
I love it.
And I had one, and it's a really good one. There we. Oh, it just landed.
There it is.
Legislation. How long before you think you can get everything standardized so people can make sense of this and we actually can transform more lives and get everyone less confused?
Funny you should say. So we actually are we're just launching a tool where we have basically taken the data, the de-identified data from all of our clients. So basically, just like the medicine commercials where we see the American public, where it's just a mouth and a belly and a digestive system with lights on, where I can say, okay, female, endomorph, 50 years old, eating this way. How is her body responding? So the unique aspect of the data that we get is we have quality data because we have engaged participants. Frankly speaking, people don't casually work with us. They work with us because they're like, this is it. I'm all in. I want to get results. Talk to me. So by and large, nobody's perfect, but by and large, we get very high levels of adherence to the strategies and routines that we lay out for our clients. So that means that the data we get back on how their body's responding is very good versus most of the public, or we ask them, how do you eat? And they say, pretty good. What does that mean, right?
So they're going to Panera instead of Burger King?
That's it. Exactly. Yeah. That means something different to everyone. Exactly. So we've taken that data, and so now we are just launching an application. It's still in development, but we are right there. That is going to enable people to basically have a baseline testing meal plan, and then if they follow it and they check off enough recommended meals and activities, MetPro will run its algorithm and say, here's your metabolic rating score. Based on this score, we recommend XYZ changes. And they're not arbitrary recommendations. It's not some predetermined track. They're recommendations based on data and analytics from all different demographics, body types, people that tell us odds of probability, here's the best strategy for you. And so I'm really passionate about that because that's something that has the potential to benefit a large amount of people versus just the handful of time that we work with.
That's fantastic and exciting. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, we are going to thank our sponsor and come back for the Imperfect action round right after this. Winning with Google in 2020? I have no doubt you want to for your business, but who do you trust and where do you start? I'd advise Rosh Sillers. Not only was he episode 22's featured VIP guest, but he's also a Google specialist with search, advertising, and YouTube. And I had him put together this free Winning with Google in 2020 guide for you to get started with right now. Go to eainterviews.com/Rosh Tips to get your free download now. Once again, that's eainterviews.com/Rosh Tips. And we are back with the imperfect action round. Angelo, are you ready to take imperfect action?
I'm ready. Let's do it. Heavy on the imperfect.
60 seconds. 60-second answers. First one. What is the fastest path to the cash?
People matter. Your clients are your greatest asset. What I teach all of my coaches is love them. If you love them and you're genuine, you're always going to be finding ways to add value. And that ultimately trickles down. Yeah.
Absolutely. What is the biggest problem you see your prospects making and the fastest way they can fix it?
Confusion. That's the problem everyone comes to us with. So much clutter out there. They don't know what's up or down, right or wrong. And so the way that we help them with that, the way that anyone can help is provide a resource, education or resource to any demographic that is in need. That's what we're trying to do. And I think that would be applicable to any business.
Excellent. Number 3, what is the best way to maximize customer lifetime value?
Oh man, I got to use the same answer twice. It's the same thing. I joke with my coaches. I say, okay, pull out your roster. Show me your roster. Which on this roster do you enjoy working with the most? And I say, oh, I like these 3 of these 4. I say, perfect. They're the ones who enjoy you the most too. You love them the most. They love you the most because you can't hide that. The key is genuine. If you're genuinely interested in both your craft and those who you're sharing that with, it's undeniable. Love your clients. Same answer.
It was a little bit different. It's good, though. I mean, I want the truth, and I don't disagree.
My mentor taught me that the first 12 seconds of any answer is the most honest. So that's what you're getting from me here.
Well, I appreciate it. What is a book you'd recommend to Expert Authority World that's made a big difference in your life?
I am reading a book right now by Michael Daphne, who I've had the privilege of working with, who's amazing. The book is called Extraordinary, and it's all about learning your strengths, identifying what those strengths are and how to expand on them. Please go pick it up. It's awesome.
Well, I appreciate that recommendation as well as everything else you've shared, and I'm so glad we got connected. This was really a lot of fun, and I learned a lot myself.
This has been a huge honor. Thank you so much, Mario.
Well, Expert Authority World, we have another great episode. I'll see you on tomorrow's. Have a great day, and God bless.